Hey, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to sexualize your dates, okay? Now, the first thing that you need to know is you really won't be over the top sexual with her before you get back to your place, because if she was ready for all that, then you may as well just cut the date short and then head back to your place where you could be alone in private, okay? So this video is really going to assume that you're running a typical date where when the girl gets there, she's a little bit shy, she's a little bit, timid, she's not totally ready to be super sexual with you right away, and she needs some warming up and some time to get comfortable with you, okay? The goal really also isn't to create a porno in the bar or in the cafe where you're meeting her. The goal really is to create a nice romantic vibe or romantic connection, give her all the information that she needs to know, make her feel comfortable, and then you get to take her home where you both can do all that stuff in the privacy of your bedroom. So the way you will want it to begin is start setting a nice sexual flirtatious frame from the very start of the date. So the way I recommend doing this is first give her a nice masculine hug. So pull her in with one arm where your kind of right arm is kind of firm around the back of her neck, not in a choking way, okay, but where it's firm and masculine. And you're gonna give her a nice kiss on the cheek, and you're gonna tell her that she looks fucking sexy, okay? You wanna make her feel sexy and you wanna be flirtatious, but you also want to make sure to make her feel appreciated and feel good being around you, and then you're gonna gradually amp that up more and more as she's ready. You could do more than that if you're very, very skilled and you know how to get away with that and make her feel comfortable with it, but definitely don't do less than that, because every girl's gonna be ready for that at the start of the date, because this is a nice date romantic context, okay? She's there because she likes you. From there, you're gonna walk over to the date location, or if you're already there, you're just gonna sit down, and you're gonna sit down next to her if at all possible. So I like bar stool type of situations where you both could situate the bar stools right next to each other, and then you get to face each other. What I also like is the L-shaped angle, right, where maybe I'm sitting here and she's sitting right here to my right or to my left. It could be a round table, a square table, rectangular, it doesn't really matter, but she's able to sit next to me, but a little bit sort of in front of me, so I could easily look at her, okay? Now this is gonna prevent awkwardness. It's also gonna make it easier to escalate. The other thing that I recommend is maybe you have a couch situation. They have those at a lot of cafes where there's a couch situation, a nice coffee table, and you kind of have like some nice room to look over at her comfortably. Okay, that's not bad either. But what I don't recommend is sitting in maybe a booth type of situation where it's really tight and not a lot of room to look next to each other, right? And or at each other, and it's like you both are mostly looking at the wall, and it's just awkward. So don't do that, okay? It's physically uncomfortable, and it's just not good for the vibe. So what I recommend, if that's not an option, is sit across from her. A lot of guys don't like this, and it's not the most ideal, but there's plenty to work with here. Okay, so when you're sitting across from her, you could go and you could reach over, take her hands, speak to her, flirt with her while you're holding her hands and looking her in her eye. You could also move over and sit next to her as you're waiting for your food to come or whatever you ordered, or the bill. So for example, sometimes there's a two-seater type of booth, right? And there's 2 seats with you, 2 seats by her. So you'll sit facing each other, but then while you're waiting for the bill to come, or while you're waiting for whatever it is you ordered, then you could go and sit next to her, and then you would move back to your seat when everything comes. But it's gonna be really, really good to go and sit next to her. You can put your hand on her thigh, you could kiss her if she's ready for that. And it's just gonna be nice to have that flirtatious moment where you're both next to each other, but it's not so long and extended where it starts to get uncomfortable, where you're constantly cranking your neck, if that makes sense. The other thing is, if there isn't room to sit next to her, then I would say about halfway through the date, you could just stand up, get up from your seat, walk over to her and give her a kiss, okay? And even if you don't get it, it's okay, because at least she starts to know the direction that you're trying to lead this, that you like her, that you see her in a sexual, flirtatious, romantic kind of way. It's also a pretty ballsy move, so you get to build a lot of attraction no matter what happens. But normally, you will get the kiss, especially if she already likes you, okay? It's a really nice kind of way to feel her out and see where you guys stand. You also definitely want to make sure to speak about sex, okay? Don't feel the need to overdo this and make your entire conversation about sex, but definitely talk about it. Get a nice sexual flirtatious vibe between you two, and you could really do that verbally. So I recommend doing this through the use of storytelling. Use the storytelling format that I talked about, where there's a setting, a conflict, a resolution. You can make sexual comments about how great she looks, how sexy she looks. And you could also ask questions about her experiences and tell her about yours. So you could start asking questions about what kind of guys that she likes, and then you could tell her about the kinds of girls that you like and start moving into something more sexual. So you could ask her a very typical question. Do you like guys who are dominant? Do you like dominant men? And then when she says yes, which most girls will say yes, then you could say, oh, so do you like having your neck bitten or your hair pulled or your ass smacked or something like that? And when she says yes, because most girls will, then you could start telling her the things that you like, and you could start doing that in the storytelling format. So you're like, oh, I love a hair pulling and ass smacking. And then, right, that would be like the setting. And then you could go into the conflict and say, I remember the first time a girl asked me to pull her hair or smack her ass. And I freaked out because I was thinking, no way, you're a girl. I'm not doing that to you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to bite your neck. Why would I do that? And then eventually she got me to do it, and I saw how much she loved it, which made me like it more. And it was just awesome. And then you could go into a lesson, right? Where you could say, and at this point it's funny because I don't know if I could even date a girl who wasn't into that. It just makes sex way more fun. Okay, that's a great way to tell a story. And you could also make regular sexual comments. So if she's wearing a crop top, let's say, which is a very typical thing a girl will come wearing to a date, you'll say, damn, you look so sexy in that crop top. I hate being in this bar with you. I'd rather be at my home now. Or if she's wearing a nice pair of jeans or a mini skirt, you could say, damn, you look so fucking sexy in those jeans. I can't wait to just bring you home and rip them off. Okay, so if you haven't already made it sexual with any of these things I gave you as suggestions and tools to use, you definitely want to start making it sexual by the time you start heading toward your home, okay? So you could do it while you're waiting for the check. Remember, like, you could walk across the table and go for a kiss. If maybe, you could sit next to her or you could walk over. I gave you those examples. I also recommend that you could do it while you're, let's say, walking home with her. So one of the ways that I do this is I walk with her as I'm holding her hand. Okay, I always hold her hand on the way back. And then as we're walking, I'll stop at some point. I'll realize, oh, let's go for the kiss. I'll stop. And because I'm holding her hand and I stop, it kind of gets her to automatically turn facing me, and then I'll pull her in for a makeout, and that'll be awesome. You could also, when you go into a taxi or an Uber, if you're doing that, you can put your hand on her thigh, pull her in for a kiss throughout the drive, like just make out with her a little bit throughout the drive. And this is something that's really helpful for guys who are driving themselves. Obviously, your options are a little bit limited on those, right, when you're driving, because you have to focus. So what I always do is I put my hand on her thigh, and from there, you're going to have green and red lights, right? So you'll go for the makeout and start amping it up during the red lights, and it's going to make it way more fun and almost a game and very teasing like and way more flirtatious, because you're going to have to stop the moment the light turns green. Right, and which makes it more fun because she gets to see, well, how far is he going to push it, and then it teases her once the light turns green. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. You have a lot of really cool tools here to work with, and now you should have a really, really fun interaction, really fun, flirtatious, sexual, and then when you get home, you will have even more fun. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.